Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to Profound Feeling, a podcast that is ready to explore the profound feeling that is the love of Jesus. My name is Savannah, and I could not be happier to have you here today. Fun little anecdote before we get in here about my past 30 minutes, 45 minutes before filming this. Right. Yeah, so we have a garden, right? Flourishing. She's doing beautiful. She's amazing, right? Love her. We have a jalapeno plant. I picked jalapenos. I made some food. I put the jalapenos in. I underestimated said jalapenos. I literally I thought I was gonna breathe fire. Oh my gosh, because normally jalapenos they kind of suck. There's no spice and they taste weird. Let me tell you guys, these ones don't. These ones, in fact, are very spicy and taste really good. They just make you feel like you're going to turn into a dragon. So yeah, that's been in my past little time. It literally, what's it called? What's the word I'm looking for? Postponed me filming this because I couldn't. I literally was breathing out of my mouth. I couldn't close my mouth. I licked my lips and they would burn. They still tingle a little bit. So yeah, I thought I'd let you guys know that. We're back to the handheld mic. My hair looks a little different. I'm thinking I'm growing out my bangs. And while they're not super grown out, I've been wearing them like this. It's a little easier. I now have to train the part back in there a bit. So there's one hair that likes to flip around. She turns into a little bit of an alfalfa hair sometimes. So just ignore that if that happens. And it definitely doesn't look like super cohesive in some spots, but it's fine. I like how my hair looks. I think it looks cute. Free the forehead, right? Sure. Another update. It's also so hot here. Hi, it is so hot on the East Coast, guys. I'm not. I know y'all. If you are on the West Coast, you're like, okay, especially like parts of the West Coast, or I don't know. I don't know what the sun's been doing. I don't know what this heat's been doing, but it's hot. It was like real feel of 100 today. Excuse me. I literally went outside. I wore shorts for one of the first times outside, kind of ish first times, because I normally just wear jeans because my POTS makes me regulating me and regulating my temperature. I just don't regulate my temperature right. So a lot of the time I wear a short sleeve with long pants because that helps. If I wear a long sleeve with short pants, I just can't. I don't know why. But anywho, that's literally what I'm doing today, kind of sorta. I digress. Yeah, the sun literally felt as though my skin was going to burn off. I was literally getting cooked by the sun, especially because my arms they're kind of okay. They're kind of used to feeling like the heat in the sun, even though I am super pale. Although, guys, I have a little color on me. You may not be able to really believe it. Okay, you guys may not totally be able to tell because I also have a new lighting set up here. I'm just giving y'all all the updates because the sun's going down, so I needed my light source. But I don't like how the white light looks. It just washes me out and it's too bright. So I remembered that the cover over the lights, I can change it. So instead of having the clear one, so it's a white light, it's an amber color, which I'm also realizing I have it a little crooked, which is gonna kind of bother me, but it's fine. But yeah, there's like it's an amber color, so the light isn't as harsh, and I really like it. I think the lighting looks good. So yeah, there's your updates. I think I don't think I finished the thought I was saying. That's fine. It's fine. Anywho, yeah, I had right before this because I was really hungry. I had a meal because it's around dinner time. It's 8:15. I'm so not used to being this late. So late. I literally thought it was 6:30. It's fine. I ate dinner and I used so we ground turkey and then I threw in a bunch of veggies from our garden, fresh veggies that we've been making. Guys, it was so good. Sorry if that was loud. It was so good. I was in heaven. I was so happy. I was really enjoying myself. That's what I told you about the jalapeno. It had I also had we I just picked one of our first Japanese sweet potato of the season. I also think that's or not sweet potato, eggplant. So it's not sweet potato season yet. And we didn't plant Japanese sweet potatoes. We did plant regular sweet potatoes though, so those will be coming at the end of the summer ish. They're later pick. We have a lot of early vegetables right now. And oh my gosh, our raspberries are doing crazy. I made two jars of raspberry preserve. Thought I was gonna get more than that, like 4 or 5 jars, but it was only two. Anywho, Japanese eggplant, really, really good. It was our first one of the season. Then I jalapeno. We talked about her a lot. One of our zucchini, put some zucchini, cucumber. What else? Peas. And was that it? I feel as though I put something else there. I put spinach in there, but that's not from our garden. I got that at the store. Oh, thyme and our, what's it called? Rosemary. Really good stuff. I think that's all. If y'all want to know, I've been starting posting my food on my Instagram, herbaltea.enthusiast. Thank you very much. I'm starting to post more food type stuff on there as I'm getting my nutrition certification so I can dive into the nutrition stuff. I can't tell if my bangs like this look like they don't belong on my head or if it looks good. I think it looks fine. I feel cute. Okay. Anywho, let's get into my topic for today, which is about guarding your eyes and your ears, all about the media we consume, what it does to you. I have verses and I have science. I love science. Fun fact, I'm currently in my nutrition course learning about thermodynamics and food science, and I'm having a blast. It is so much fun. But I love knowing the science and the history behind this stuff that backs up scripture. I just think that's really cool because it just, the way, because science, you're basically learning about and examining the phenomena of our earth and our universe and everything. And that's what God created. And so we examine these things from a very, scientists normally don't go at it with a biblical view. They go in with a very, some worldly view, but also simply just a, what's the word I'm looking for? What's it called? Unbiased view. Kind of, obviously, there's probably going to be some bias because we're human. We don't really, well, also, science, you can't really, you got to test it. Can I finish the sentence? The way you test science, you're going to get an outcome no matter your bias. The outcome you're going to get for most things doesn't really rely on your own biases unless you're letting, say you're doing a trial of a group of people and let your biases in some way shape how you choose what people to use for your trial, which is why those kinds of studies aren't good. You want, I forget the exact word for it, what the exact word for it is right now, but there's a certain type of trial where you basically have your preset criteria that allows you to choose the people that leads to the people you choose for said trial. So in a way, that's kind of how it is if you're studying, say, literally the rocks on the ground. You have a certain criteria for the rocks you're going to study. It's kind of, you don't really have a bias towards the rocks. You kind of get what I'm saying, okay? Thank you very much. Anywho, I love when science and history and just what we find as a physical source backs up the Bible, because it just shows that Jesus is the way, the truth, and life, and that the God of the Christian Bible is the one true God. So, anywho, let's get into this. So, I have some stuff pulled up here. I need to stop. Okay, I make these videos so long, and it's a really big pain in the butt because I don't have enough storage on my phone, which also made me realize I don't know if I deleted something that I needed to delete so that I had space on my phone, but it's fine. And for example, my last video, I like to cut out and if I'm drinking or anything because I hate the sound of me swallowing, which is also why I switched over to this mic, because with the mic on my shirt, if I can't edit out a spot or I forget to or don't find it kind of just, you hear me swallow. So sorry about that for last week's video because it was too long, so my phone literally wanted to lose its mind when I tried to edit it and it didn't work, so I just had to cut off like my silence at the beginning and my silence at the end of me turning on and off my camera. that was the only things I could cut to actually get the video up. It was really annoying, but it's fine. So I'm really trying to really stick to my structure, which at the same time I do want to let the Holy Spirit take over and do his thing and speak through me. But I also kind of need to be able to actually post the videos. So it's fine. We'll get there. We'll find out. I'm already 10 minutes into this. I've been yapping and I'm just starting the topic. So, anyway, so some verses. So, I'm going to start off with some verses for the why we should be protecting our eyes and our ears. And then I'm going to get into different types of media. I'm going to give examples of media to avoid and good media to engage with, because through trial and error, I've discovered some media that you should not engage with. And I've also found some good options and also resources for you to look up what the substance of these medias, these things you are engaging with. Because I found some good resources, guys. So, first I'm going to start off with Psalm 101. I'm just going to read the whole thing. So, a psalm of David. I will sing of mercies and justice to you, O Lord. I will sing praises. I will behave wisely in a perfect way. Oh, when will you come to me? I will walk within my house with a perfect heart. I will set nothing wicked before my eyes. I hate the work of those who fall away. It shall not cling to me. A perverse heart shall depart from me. I will not know wickedness. Whoever secretly slanders his neighbor, him I will destroy. The one who has a haughty look and a proud heart, him I will not endure. My eyes shall be on the faithful of the land, that they may dwell with me. He who walks in a perfect way, he shall serve me. He who works deceit shall not dwell within my house. He who tells lies shall not continue in my presence. Early I will destroy all the wicked of the land, that I may cut off all evil doers from the city of the Lord. Now, something I want to point out. So, this one was really touching on I will set nothing wicked before my eyes. And where it says that my eyes shall be on the faithful of the land, that they may dwell with me. He who walks in a perfect way, he shall serve me. Where is it? Oh, he who works deceit shall not dwell within my house. That doesn't just mean a physical human being coming to your house. That means, how the media you consume, the TV, which the show you put on your TV, which my TV's on, and that's probably affecting my light, which isn't fun. Hello? Okay, so she's staying on. It's fine. Anywho, so letting those things in. I don't know if you've ever heard anybody talk about how what you put on your TV, say a horror movie, you're kind of inviting that into your home and into your heart. And so I'm going to go into really quick some of the studies and articles that have gone over some studies that I discovered about what consuming this content does to your mind. So I'm going to read to you. This is How Music Affects Your Mind, Mood, and Body from Tallahassee Memorial Healthcare. I'm going to link all of this down below, my resources. It's by Megan Hoffer, MMMT-BC, Julie Averett, MMMT-BC, Kelsey Bakarski, music therapy intern, Joshua DaCosta, music therapy intern. This is from December 2022. So this is from the article. The quote reads, active music making positively affects neurotransmitters such as dopamine and serotonin, and that influence mood. Dopamine influences focus, concentration, memory, sleep, mood, and motivation. Likewise, serotonin impacts mood, sleep patterns, anxiety, and pain. Active music making can involve singing, playing an instrument, or creating music electronically. Making music, specifically singing in a group, helps us feel connected to others because of the production of the hormone oxytocin. Singing synchronizes breathing patterns to promote relaxation and reduce the hormone cortisol, the stress hormone. So, when you are listening to music, and there's music in the shows you watch too. So that's something to keep in mind. One of these articles kind of talked about how that background music subconsciously kind of hits in there, which I'll touch on a bit more. And it affects different parts of your brain and the neurotransmitters. And it makes you produce dopamine and serotonin are literal hormones. It makes you produce these hormones that are going to control the way you feel. I mean, these are literal hormones that are produced in our body when we are with someone that you love or hate or whatnot. These are, we produce these hormones and they control, quote unquote, control the way we perceive this person and how we feel about them. The dopamine response when you're with someone you love only kind of makes you love them more, if that makes sense. And it's why you get that kind of connection to someone where it's almost intoxicating and you feel as though you can't be without that person. So I also want to touch on, that's not the right article. Is it this one? I think it's this one. Yes, it is. So this is from Morning Meadow Preschool and Kindergarten. It was just some random article I found. And they were just kind of brought up some good points about, they made a few different things like the hypnotic state, lack of critical analysis, addiction, reduction, higher brain functions. Television lets your brain get flabby, short attention span, impaired brain development in children, were some of the topics they went on. I'm going to kind of browse around and read a couple little excerpts from here, not reading the whole article. That was the little section was how, here are 7 ways that television can affect your brain. And they're saying the brain slips into hypnotic state within seconds of watching TV. Watching TV puts the viewer into a highly suggestible sleep-like hypnotic state. This provides easy access to the subconscious and is one reason why it is easy to fall asleep whilst watching television. The hypnotic effect is largely caused by screen flicker, which lowers your brainwaves into an alpha state, a state of mind that you will normally associate with meditation or deep relaxation. In most people, this occurs within 30 seconds or 3 minutes for very light and infrequent viewers. In hypnotic state, also, excuse me, the information which you are exposed to will download directly to your subconscious mind, where it can alter existing beliefs and form new beliefs without you even being aware of it. This has obvious implications of marketers who wish to sell their products to viewers. So I read the full little excerpt of that because I think that's one of the most important parts of what I'm going to be kind of getting at in this video, is the fact that so much of it, no matter if you are aware of what you're watching or listening to and how it affects you, or if it doesn't seem that bad, maybe it is having an effect subconsciously in your brain. And now that I think of it, there's this video, Culture Apothecary. It is a Turning Point or the Turning Point organization sponsor or of the podcast. It's through Turning Point, and it's with I think her name's Alex. I don't remember her last name, but she brought on somebody. I think the video I was thinking of, it's about whether or not spanking your kids is good or bad, like what it does to your brain. So you can use those keywords to find it if you would like. But it has somebody come on who, I know he's a pastor. I don't remember what else to it, but he talks about this and how with his kids, what they do is up until they are 16, they have, if they want to go to the movie with friends, they have to vet the movie with their parents. And once they hit 16, they go, okay, you don't have to vet the movie with me anymore. You're going to use your own critical thinking skills on whether or not this movie is appropriate and healthy for you to watch, and for your age, as a believer, just as a person in general, just whatever it may be, whether or not you should go see this movie. And at home, when they watch television, they don't let their kids just shut off their brain, as it's saying in this uh, article. What they do is they watch the movie or TV show or whatever, and one, if a scene comes up that's questionable or whatnot, they may ask them questions about said scene in particular. And then once the movie or show is over, what they do is they ask them about what they just watched and how to critically decipher what they just watched and how it's affecting their brain and what they should take away from it and whether or not it's something healthy for them to watch. And I just think that's a great way. And I think we all should. And it actually, there is studies that show with that it's just good for your brain if after you read a book or watch a show or movie to write kind of a synopsis. And when you write reviews and you kind of go over what you just watched, it is good for you in your brain to do that. So there's that. And then it goes on to say your lack of critical analysis. When you watch TV, brain activity switches from left side of your brain, which is responsible for logical thought and critical analysis, to the right side. This is significant because the right side of the brain tends not to critically analyze incoming information. Instead, it uses an emotional response, which results in little or no analysis of the information. Our emotions are untrustworthy. It literally says in the Bible that your heart is deceitful. You should not trust what your emotions are telling you to do. You need to think objectively and really think within and look into your conscience, but also just look at the Word of God and see, is it counteracting what I am thinking in the moment and what I'm feeling. So then addiction, we all are very aware of the addiction we have to media, social media, movies, television, just your screen, to different music. Watching TV causes the body to release chemicals which make it feel good, as we just read about it releasing the dopamine and everything when you listen to music. It goes the same for TV because you are creating that because as it's saying, that right side of your brain is on. Your emotional side of your brain, you're creating an emotional connection to whatever you are engaging with, and you have to be very careful of that. And then so reduction in higher brain functions. I also had caffeine today. I've been doing better with caffeine, but today I was really lagging. So I needed some because I knew I wanted to film, and my brain was not functioning then. Now it's, I think, functioning a little too fast. So sorry about that. You're welcome. You get to enjoy me. My brain just woo, 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 woo. There you go. Yep, that's what my brain's doing. TV viewing reduces higher brain activity, promoting activity in lower brain regions. In other words, it makes you behave less intelligently and more like an animal. I don't know about y'all, but anecdotally, when I decide to read versus watch something on television, all of a sudden, my vocabulary is so sharp. I am using less filler words. My brain function just feels better. I just feel better in general, and especially in my brain function. It's crazy when you think of that. And actually, my grandmother, before she passed away, she lived, goodness gracious, we weren't sure if she was gonna die. Anywho, she, for her whole life, read. Big reader. She's why I like reading. Whenever I was little, she would pick me up from school, and so much time was spent at the public library. Loved the library. She always took me there. And so she read for her whole life. And there was a part where she really stopped reading. If anything, she would maybe listen to books. This was as she got older. She would maybe listen to books or use an ebook or something, but normally she was listening to something. And she then also decided to start reading physical books again. And it was really interesting watching the change in her brain function in that time. You could see it lacking a bit when she stopped reading physical books, and then when she picked up reading physical books again, it was like a whole change. You could literally see how her brain function changed. It was crazy. So yeah, we all know that there's a shortened attention span, especially with watching short form content that's quick moving. I mean, movies themselves are just quick moving. If you think about when you're watching a movie and you think about it happening in real life and you see it switching from scene to scene to scene, and you think, oh my gosh, if this happened in real life, that scene would be like the length of the episode. It would not go by that quick. So that just in itself, and I think that probably contributes to our rushed conversations and just our rushed lives in general. And then the last topic they bring up is, I skipped over a little stuff because I kind of condensed it into my other thoughts. And the last one they were saying is impaired brain development in children, which we are actively seeing. I mean, there are literal, I don't know if you guys seen the videos. There's this one guy who's going viral because he will go out on the streets and he'll have a little card with different words. I remember one of them was something along the lines of, her silhouette was like her silhouette was extraordinary yet gauche and all that kind of stuff. And these people couldn't pronounce the words. I literally heard multiple people say extraordinary. They couldn't pronounce gauche. They didn't know what these words meant. They didn't know anything about what they just read. And a lot of people, he just go out on the streets. Or one guy went to his school and did this and literally was getting threatened to not be able to walk at graduation because he was exposing this school's terrible education because these students couldn't read. They didn't know what they were reading. And it was a magnet school or a STEM school or something like that, which, yes, they have more focus on science and maths, but still, you would think they'd be intelligent enough to read these rather basic words, especially extraordinary. You can't pronounce extraordinary. You don't know what it means. That's just crazy to me. And also the fact that if you're going for science and math and stuff, especially for science, y'all got some crazy words. I was about to say some fantastic or something. I don't know what I was going to say. Y'all got some crazy words in them studies. How are you being able to decipher that and know what you're reading? I mean, yes, you're learning about it, but you kind of get my point. And there was just, I have a couple articles that I've kind of just looked through with how different music can affect your brain, and a study from, not the study's not from it, they were kind of breaking down a couple different studies from Psychology Today. It's called What You Watch Matters. The article is by Carrie Barron, MD. This is from May 21st, 2020. And the article mainly focuses on the effects, how we're seeing the effects of social media take place during COVID, during the lockdown. It was kind of documenting that time from March to May when this article came out. And they were saying, not all content is toxic. Certain types of music, film, television, and digital media can deliver measurable psychological benefits. Many viewers wonder how high maintenance manages to cast an intoxicating spell over audiences, making them feel eerily under the influence, which there's lots of shows like that. Not even just this show High Maintenance, not totally sure what that show is, but I think about that when I've watched White Lotus before. That left me with an eerie feeling. Or, what's it called? I literally just thought of it. Oh, it's called We Are Who We Are. Anything by Luca Guadagnino? I don't know how to pronounce this. Guadagnino. Maybe? Who knows? He's a famous, he's a big, he did Call Me By Your Name. That's a big one. Timothy Chalamet. A lot of people know of that one with Armie Hammer. I think that's how you pronounce his name. Anywho, that, what is going on out there? It sounds like somebody has a jackhammer. Whatever. I hope y'all don't hear that. But his films have a very intoxicating feel to them. He also did Challengers, I'm pretty sure. Didn't he? Yeah. He did Challengers. Whenever I've watched those, it does feel intoxicating. It's almost as if time just flies by. Same with when I watch Saltburn. Never watch that one. If you want to guard your eyes and ears, don't watch that. Not a good one. Not a good one. Those films have a very intoxicating feel. It's almost as if time just flies by. I don't really know what I just watched. It very much, my brain feels so shut off when I watch those. It's so weird. And then they go on to say, when we watch segments of Planet Earth, why do certain sequences seem to nurse us into a state of semi-meditative calm? I mean, watching Planet Earth or anything Nat Geographic is very therapeutic to watch. Just watching those animals and the scenery. Hey, get outside, touch some grass, go talk to some birds. I love going out in the garden and talking to the plants and animals. It's so fun. There's little bees. I'm like, hey, what you doing? How's it going? How's the flowers? How's the pollinating going? It's fun. And I talk to the plants and I'm like, oh, you're doing so good. And oh, you're flourishing. Oh, this one looks good. Good job. Positive reinforcement. Plants need it too. I love talking to the plants. It's so fun. I mean, there are literal scientific studies about, oh, there's a sticker on this. About what's it called? Trees. About how sitting and touching and hugging trees literally kind of resets your nervous system. It's super healing and grounding walking outside with your bare feet. So good for you mentally and physically and everything. And then the article goes on to say, the Psychology Today article, an ever-growing body of peer-reviewed literature demonstrates a correlation between certain types of digital materials and the release of specific mood-altering brain neurotransmitters. We've talked about this, guys. A 2019 study published by the University of Barcelona and New York University examined the impact of curated sound on deep brain systems, like the striatum, that are responsible for regulating dopamine production. Similarly, we know that movie soundtracks and background music have been associated with the activation of these same reward pathways in the brain, as well as our emotional response. Ever watch a horror movie with the sound turned off? Not so scary anymore. Pleasurable, skin-tingling sensations that audio-video media on platforms such as YouTube and Instagram evoke have also been a hot topic in the world of neuroscience. I was talking about the activation of the reward pathways. Those are the same pathways that get you that turn on and why you get addicted to heroin, why you get addicted to sugar and food and different alcohol and whatnot, all that different kind of stuff, those are the same transmitters that are turned on. And that's also why we're seeing such an addiction to our phones. I think the average screen time is like 8 hours a day. I've seen people with 17, 18-hour long screen times. Ridiculous. Insane. And I've also recently seen a video of somebody talking about we're not, it's kind of along the lines of, why are we not talking about this? And it's a video of, I don't know, a friend or a sister brushing their teeth and literally face in the sink, spitting out their toothpaste, staring at their phone. They literally couldn't take their face off their phone, their eyes off their phone, and literally holding it in one of their hands. It's insane. I catch myself like that sometimes. I physically make sure I don't let my brain turn off too much. I try and be so aware of how much time I'm spending on my phone to an extent. I'm trying to get better, but especially in those times when I'm just walking around the house and I think, oh, let me look at my phone really quick, or let me, you know, I am planning on playing music or something, and before I even just stand still or sit down to turn on the music, I'm walking to where whatever I'm doing, say I'm going to do the dishes and I want to listen to some music, I'm thinking about before I go even get to the sink and stand there for a second. I put on the music before then, which just that action of impatience and just the strong desire to look at my phone and turn on my music, which I can very much wait an extra 5 seconds to do, but I don't, but I'm addicted to my phone. I'm addicted to technology, so I don't, my brain it's just like, woo, let's go on our phone. So that's something to keep in mind. I've thought about doing it again. A really good tip is setting a screen time, but don't set the code on your own because you can very easily bypass it because you know your code. Have it set by your parent or sibling, friend, significant other, any of those things. I've had my dad put in the password for me and do that. Makes life a whole lot, I was going to say easier. It's not easier because you're addicted to your social media and you want to go on your phone. But if you do that, it's harder to bypass it, obviously. So, good tip. So, back into some verses. So, kind of getting into how you're in that maladaptive state where you're just kind of running subconsciously. Proverbs 25:28 says, whoever has no rule over his own spirit is like a city broken down without walls. You, in that moment when you're just letting things come into you and just letting this media control what you are thinking because you're not actively aware of what you are listening to and watching, you are letting you're letting something come into your spirit. It's not just, oh yeah, it's just, I don't know, making me a little numb to gore or horror or the sex on the screen. I'm just becoming in these drugs and I'm just becoming a little, just numb to it. No, it's altering your thoughts and the way your spirit runs. And because of that, your spirit is like a broken down city without walls. So imagine, I'm not going to say that. That just doesn't feel right for the climate of the climate we're in. Anywho, Proverbs 4:19-27. Thank you very much. We're going to go on to that one. The way of the wicked is like darkness. They do not know what makes them stumble. My son, give attention to my words, incline your ears to my sayings. Do not let them depart from your eyes. Keep them in the midst of your heart. Keep them in the midst of your heart. It's not saying letting them in, it's being aware of them. Being aware of what is entering your heart and the things, because it says do not them depart from your eyes, but in a sense it's more so saying be aware of them in their presence, but don't let them legit just take over and be in your presence and instill themselves into your soul. For they are life to those who find them, and health to all their flesh. Keep your heart with all diligence, for out of it spring the issues of life. Put away from you a deceitful mouth, and put perverse lips far from you. Let your eyes look straight ahead, and your eyelids look right before you. Ponder the path of your feet, and let all your ways be established. Do not turn to the right or the left. Remove your foot from all evil. This is kind of where we get the narrow path analogy. I think it also says there's a verse that literally says it's like a narrow path. But this too, do not turn to the right or left, remove your foot from evil. let your ways be established, ponder the path of your feet, da 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 da. And then, so this is saying it is a narrow path of what you choose to engage in. There's not much option. How it's saying, this is making me think, put away from you a deceitful mouth. In the shows you watch, just because I have some topics I want to bring up within the lines of gossiping and how that works with TV, but just because you yourself aren't gossiping, say about reality TV, I'm actually going to touch on that. Go ahead and touch on that. Is that just because you don't know the people on your favorite reality TV show, and despite the fact that they feel like real characters, feel like just TV characters, they are in fact real people, and whom you are gossiping about when saying what you do and don't like about this person and why they shouldn't or shouldn't be with this person. There's a thin line between sharing information and gossiping about someone, and we should steer as far from the line as possible. I also realized that, kind of wrote that interestingly. I was just kind of jotting down what was going on in what I was thinking, and um I was kind of, I don't know if it's just because the way I read it, I don't know. What I was trying to say is that just because you don't know the person and just because they are on television doesn't mean that you talking about, I'm using Love Island as a big example because it's so big right now and I think there's a new season out. Just because you're gossiping about she's wearing such a tiny little outfit in this moment, or she's, talking to this guy, or this guy's being a douche and they should choose this person and this person. I don't like this person because of this and da 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 da. You're gossiping about that person. Just because you don't know them and just because they're on television does not mean you are not gossiping about them. And even if you are doing that, I think, because we really want to put any kind of perverse language and talking down on somebody, we want to put that away. We don't want to do that because it is wrong. It affects not only the people around you, but yourself and vice versa. We want to also, it's a very worldly thing to do. We are to be set apart. And I think that if you make it normal to do it with a fictional TV character, it can kind of instill itself into your life and make you want to do it more with just actual people in your life, which is wrong. So some verses I have that are against gossiping, and this also kind of goes for these verses go for profane language and swearing. Proverbs 20:19, he who goes about as a talebearer reveals secrets. Therefore, do not associate with one who flatters with his lips. Proverbs 16:28. Guys, read Proverbs and Ephesians. I have a lot of verses from both of these for a lot of these things, and Romans, Proverbs, and Ephesians. A lot of verses were coming up. They are so wise. Proverbs is literally considered the book about wisdom. You're going to learn so much. Very important books to read if you don't know what to read or you want some good wisdom. Read those, especially Proverbs. Proverbs 16:28, a perverse man sows strife, and a whisperer separates the best of friends. Other versions may say a perverse person stirs up conflict, and a gossip separates close friends. Don't gossip. Ephesians 4:29, let no corrupt word proceed out of your mouth, but what is good for necessary edification, that it may impart grace to the hearers. We want to speak life over other people. You do not want to be speaking death and just evil, darkness. Don't speak that over other people or yourself, because that's another thing to keep in mind, especially with music. Some songs that become very repetitive, 3, 4, 5 times they're repeating the same line just over and over again. That's a mantra. That's what happens in yoga, and that's a dangerous thing about yoga and meditation. And what's it called, when people say, oh, I'm speaking this into existence, manifestation, they're saying mantras, because those do in a way have power, but more so it has a power over you. You start believing those things because, again, subconsciously hits that part of your brain and it just keeps running on repeat. That's why when, say, memorizing scripture, and just memorizing anything, memorizing notes for a test, repetition. You're reading and rereading and speaking and just repetition just over and over again to make you remember it. And you'll even catch yourself, I know I do, when I do something repetitively, I'll just start thinking about it on my own. As an example, I am a Sudoku addict, okay? And I will literally catch myself during the day when I'm just have my thoughts to myself, or a lot of the time when I'm falling asleep, I'll be making Sudoku puzzles in my head. Hello? It's just that because I do it so often, it's a repetition. And so I'll just start doing it in my brain because it's it it triggers a dopamine response because it's enjoyable for me and it's soothing for me. That's actually something Sudoku is something I'll do if I need to focus or quiet my brain. I recently did an audition, which I'll actually get into here in a second. And I had an audition and I was freaking out and super stressed and I was trying to read. I couldn't read. I played Sudoku. That's what I've always done when I've had panic attacks is I use it to kind of focus my mind on something. So I have a very positive response to it because it relaxes me. So there's that. Let me give you Matthew 6:22-24. I'm back to just general verses over why you should protect your eyes and your ears. The lamp of the body is the eye. If therefore your eye is good, your whole body will be full of light. But if your eye is bad, your whole body will be full of darkness. If therefore the light that is in you is darkness, how great is that darkness? No one can serve two masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or else he will be loyal to the one and despise the other. You cannot serve God and mammon. I'll leave that there. Can't serve two masters. Let's see. There's also something I want to preface in all this. Actually, I'm going to read this verse first. The end of Romans 7 is, let me see where I want to start. Some of these I just linked because they were a lot of words, so I thought it would just be easier to do this. Yeah, law cannot save from sin is the title of this section in Romans 7. It's the end section. So this is kind of Paul saying how he hates his sin, but he can't help but sin. Starting in verse 14, for we know that the law is spiritual, but I am carnal, sold under sin. For what I am doing, I do not understand. For what I will to do, that I do not practice, but what I hate, that I do. If then I do what I will not to do, I agree that the law that it is good, with the law that it is good. But now it is no longer I who do it, but sin that dwells in me. For I know that in me, that is in my flesh, nothing good dwells, for to will is present with me, but how to perform what is good I do not find. For the good that I will to do, I do not do. But the evil I will not to do, that I practice. Now if I do what I will not to do, it is no longer I who do it, but sin that dwells in me. A little bit of a riddle. Just a little bit. That's why you kind of have to read it in a certain cadence so that you understand you're not just. It's Paul with his run-on sentences. We know he is the king of run-on sentences. He sure is. But he's basically just saying that his flesh has desires, and those desires take over no matter how much he wants to, or not even wants to, but just knows what is good for him and wants to not sin. He still falls into sin and temptation because of his flesh. And that's why you need to starve your flesh. There's verses for that. I didn't even think to look up verses about starving your flesh, but you need to starve it. I know lust is something big that I've struggled with, and recently I've been struggling with it again because of things that happened. But I got to a point where I starved my flesh so much of these lustful desires. I had no lustful desires. It was beautiful. It was bliss. It took forever to get there. It took a lot of, when those thoughts came in, a big thing of doing is I rebuke that in the name of Jesus. I plead the blood of the Lamb over me. That's a big thing I've done in my life, and that's helped me get over some of my eating disorders, my disordered eating habits, and sin. That's a really, really big one. Prayer and just pleading the blood of the Lamb over you is truly, 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 I think, the number one thing to do. And my voice went so high, but that is my number one defense. Prayer is your number one defense. The word of God is your number one defense. Knowing these things about why it's wrong and what the truth is about you. I've actually just started compiling a list of verses for different sins so that I can go to those when I'm struggling. And that was honestly really helpful. I highly recommend doing that. Also, because you can familiarize yourself with more verses in the Bible more and just with God's word. And again, just knowing the truth about yourself and what God has in store for you and what less the truth about, like, the truth from God, not from the world, not from what you think of, whatever, the truth from God that is in the word, which is in the Bible, which is his word from him. It's God. He gave you a guidebook. Who else did that? So, I digress. Now, I know this is a bit of an abrupt cut in the video, but the video was a little too long and was giving me issues trying to upload it. So I have to split this into a part 1 and part 2. This was kind of the best stopping point I could find about halfway through. So I appreciate you all for watching this episode. I will be posting part 2 later this week, so keep an eye out for it, and I will see you all in part 2.